Wonder, 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 wonder.
How do we get over that fear of being told no?
I don't know. I just think it's something you have to kind of get used to. I've been told no a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, even from the get-go, my parents didn't give me everything. I had to fight for what I wanted. I had to earn my money, and I was told no from a very early age. So I just guess it was ingrained. And I think
Okay.
one thing that I haven't done for my son is, maybe he needs to hear no a little bit more from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I wanted to make life easier. Like you said, you want to make sure that your kids can handle the challenges.
Yeah.
And we always want to go in and make things easier, but we can't do that for our clients, and we can't do that for our children.
No,
either.
and we shouldn't, And I was reading an article the other day that said a lot of the people are not dating because they're so afraid of getting a no, right? Because back in the day, we would meet in real life, and boys would approach girls, and they would say, "Hey, do you want to go dance? Do you want to go watch a movie?" And now they're just not doing that anymore because they're just so afraid of getting a no. And not, or being rejected, or being told, "Oh, who are you? I'm not talking to you." Or, there's just so much of that. And I think as women, like for me, my problem is I'm very competitive. So I'm constantly looking at other women that are doing what I'm doing. And then I see gains or I see successes, and it affects me.
Yep.
And even though I'm a confident girl and I'm doing a lot, and I'm doing well, I'm very driven. I'm super ambitious too. I get caught up on that. And maybe it's social media, maybe because I am on social media, but I get caught up in being a little petty, a little jealous, a little competitive, and feeling like, ugh, why did she get that opportunity? Why did she get that sponsor? Or what did I do wrong? Or what did I not do that I didn't get that opportunity that she's getting? She's getting a speaking engagement somewhere where I want it to be. So I don't know. I think it's a lot of processing as well as we're older too. Like it's just not just young people. It's also us at this age, right?
It's everybody does that.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't embrace it,
Yeah.
then they're not telling the truth. Because everybody's going to feel a little bit envious of somebody else.
Yeah.
Because as I tell my son, there's always someone bigger and better, and there's always someone worse. And
Right.
so you just need to figure out, like you said, it, at least you're embracing it. And so and I do it too, because I am competitive also. And I'm like, oh, boo-hoo on me if I start that, though. You have to go, wait a second.
Yes.
What did I not do to get that? I
Yeah.
didn't do something because
Reflection.
Exactly. And someone told me the other day, we were talking about just success in the business. And she said, you have to show your value. You are not expressing your value enough.
Right.
And I think especially my age group, okay, I'm a baby boomer. I'm on the cusp, but I'm a baby boomer. We were not taught to do that. We were not taught. You just started working and you kept your mouth shut.
Yeah. And you grind it out, right? It's all
Right.
yeah.
And we didn't have, we were breaking glass ceilings at that point. But what I think, if I could share with younger women, and I mean much younger women, because you went through that as well, is that the road that you have today is because of women in my age group and a little bit older.
I'm so
And
glad you're
your
saying
age-
that.
and
I'm
your age
so
group
glad you're
too.
saying that.
Because everyone keeps on saying, we deserve this. No, you don't deserve it. You have to earn it.
You have to earn it. Absolutely.
And quit looking at women. I've heard this several times, and we're looking at women of my age or a little bit older and that we don't know anything. I beg to differ.
Oh, believe me.
Yeah. And I've learned so much from women that are older than me. And I definitely hear younger ones thinking that they know everything. Now, I went through that too. You get out of college, you're like, woohoo, I know everything. Well, there's an attitude adjustment. You know, I got chewed out by my boss. And I was like,
yes.
And that's when I learned how to reevaluate how I need to act, how I need to be. And so, yes, we all get jealous. We all get envious of someone
And
that has
that's
more.
human nature, right? It's perfectly normal for you to feel that.
It is, because I think it goes back to the beginning of time. People have been jealous of each other. But you just need to take an attitude check and say, okay, no, I don't deserve everything. All right. I can't have every, like transactions. I can't have every transaction ever out there. I couldn't handle it, first of all. And I started thinking, do I really want it?
Yes.
No, I don't. I want what I want. And you have to kind of go back and say, okay, you've got to prove your value. That's something I'm still working on. And I will probably have to work on that for the rest of my life. But also, you know, who am I? Who are my clients? Who am I working with? And am I making enough? No, you never make enough money. I can think. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that say, "Oh, I have exactly what I need," and for that, they should be grateful. But that's the whole point. We need to show gratitude in what we do have, and if we sit there in our hearts and try to focus on what we don't have, then we're just going to not have more.
Right.
Because the more you focus on, as I said earlier,
it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Exactly.
It's like if we feel a success, you will continue to attract the success. It's all in the mindset, and it's all how you feel. Like for me, I'm always since I was 16, 17, I've always sought out women that were doing things that I've always wanted to do, because I've always wanted to learn from them and constantly be in like a learning mode and always learning. But also, you know, like you said, reflect. What did you do that maybe you didn't do enough, that opportunity didn't come to you? And I think self-reflection is so difficult for so many people because they feel, again, either I deserve it already, like I've already worked my butt off, and like, no, you haven't worked enough. If you like, for me, it's constantly like I have to do more, I have to work more, I have to put myself out there more. But also as a competitive person, as somebody who's so driven, I need to really take stake at thinking, well, what am I missing?
right.
What part am I missing that I'm not developing in myself? And I do know what parts of me and my personality that I need to work on. And they're hard for me. Like they're very hard for me. Like I don't ask very much because I'm just so prideful. I just have so much pride. Like, you should see how valuable I am. Well, how can you not see that? Why do I have to ask you for things? But I'm learning, and that's something that I've embracing the last 6-7 months, is no. Put yourself out there more. You know, tell people how valuable you are. Or tell them. I went to this conference where Martha Stewart came out and she said,
awesome.
Don't ever be afraid to tell people how good you are at what you do. Never be, you know, so humble. She's like, don't be so humble. Tell people how good you are at what you do. If you're a great florist, tell everybody how great you are at putting flowers together. If you, like real estate, tell people what you could do for them. Like, do not be humble. Like, that's one thing she honed into all the girls that were there, all the women that were at that conference. Because they asked her if she ever felt like imposter syndrome. She goes, no. And there's so much, it's so pervasive in women now, imposter syndrome, that we don't feel like we deserve something, or we don't feel like we earned it, or, you know, these sorts of things. She was like, no, you earned it and you deserve it, and you need to tell people how good you are, but always continuously work on yourself. Don't sit and think you've already done it. Continue to work, but tell people, I'm good at this. You need to hire me for this. And I went away thinking, oh my gosh, I never do that. I just assume people see it or know it. And she's like, never assume that people know that about you.
And that's interesting. I bet that was a wonderful conference.
Oh, it was amazing. She came out to Snoop Dogg's music. It was the most fun conference I've ever been to.
Well, and what you focus on expands.
Yeah.
And I like that she's saying that. And see, there you go. Another person who's been through it. She's older than we are. And she's been through a lot.
Oh, for
including
sure.
the hardships. And she had to suffer for some things that she did, but she came out of it beautifully.
I know.
And she's so talented, and she's right. And that is one thing that I think that's funny that you say imposter syndrome. I think that some of that does come, or that's the negative effects of social media.
Right.
Because
for sure.
You're seeing people that pretend like they're being successful. You know, you never see a post where they're going, oh my gosh, I've had this problem today and this problem, you know, and nor do we want to really watch something like that probably. But on the other hand, you do have to share your value with people. And, you know, I would say everyone has a different personality in this business. You have those personalities that are so good at going out there and meeting people and greeting people, and you're one of those. I mean, you're very good at making that step. I'm a little bit more reserved. My deal is contracts. Okay, so I'm not going to be the one that's going to have all the people that are, we divide them into the disc. I mean, the people who are, real sanguine. My clients are going to be more D people. They're going to be very, when I say D, I mean the drivers, the determiners, and that kind of thing.
Okay.
But when you work with someone like that, what's the most important thing that they want? They don't want you to be all over the place.
Yes.
They want to know that you know what you're doing.
Yes.
So everyone has a different personality in this business. They really do. And it's just, you've got to grasp the people that you work with best, and you have to grasp who you are and go for it. And,
I love that.
And just say, okay, I'm not good at that. I need to work on that. Just because you're not good at something doesn't mean you don't need to work on it, like Martha Stewart
It's so true.
said.
Absolutely. Yeah. Continue to work on it, continue to learn. And it's part of being a leader as well, something that you've done in your life as well as a manager, and for me as a leader of groups, is tapping into those people that have those skill sets and being like, you're so good at that. Go for it. Like, I'm going to give you free reign to just do it and be creative or do your thing, basically, right? And I think that's important as a leader, and not just delegating or saying, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Seeing those special qualities that person has or characteristics and being like, wow, you're so good at that. Let's put you in this position so that you can shine or you can grow. But also, I think as a leader, we need to also say, you probably need help with this. You're a little challenged in this part. Let me tell you how you can improve on that. And let me give you some ideas. And that's kind of where my podcast, why it's so important for me to bring these things, because I want people to tap in and say, you know what, I'm missing that a little bit. I need to learn a little bit more. And then maybe go listen to a different podcast, or maybe go find an Audible, find ways to go into that place, because you know that you probably need to grow a little bit more on that. But if you're great at it and you're amazing, because I'm just a natural extrovert and I'm a very social person, and my husband isn't. So we always say I'm the front of the house and he's the back of the house, because he's really good at operations and, getting everybody to do things. And I am like, greedy and loving and hugging and just like all over. But we have that beautiful combination that when he needs me to tap in with his clients and just bring me to like a lunch or a dinner with his clients so that it brings a little levity, that's what I'll do for him. Or when I need him to come in and help me with negotiations because he's so good at that, he comes in and taps in on that part, right? But that's leadership, I think.
It is absolutely leadership. And I like what you're saying, because we all have different parts of us.
Yes.
And that brings back into that component that we all need to help each other out.
For sure.
And also it's receiving what you need to hear. And that's hard for me, And I mean, sometimes my husband's giving me too much information and I get very upset. But the bottom line is he's right. It's just on how I receive it.
Yeah.
And so if you like you said, you have to say, well, maybe you're really great at this, but you need to work on this. Some people don't like to hear that.
Yes.
But the one thing I'd like to share with everybody out there, including young women, young men, older women, older men, you're not perfect. And there's no one that is. Thank goodness. If the world was perfect, it'd be a strange place. It might be a great place. We just don't know.
Boring.
It'd be a bit boring. And you wouldn't have anything to talk about over dinner, right?
Yeah.
And there's going to be conflict. And it's because we're all human. And you hear,
I love that.
Yeah, we are. We all have to go from where we start. And the other thing that I see, which is very important in leadership, like you were saying, is you have to love everybody for who they are. You can't change people and make them someone they're not. You can't change a Toyota into a Cadillac, or vice versa. So you have to have something that works for you.
Yes.
And accept everybody where they are. And then, as we did with our students, not all students were A students, but those are the ones I loved working with. Those were my favorite.
Yeah,
the ones
seeing
with that
their
little rough
growth.
cut.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean
that's my favorite too.
Yeah.
When at the end of the year, you're like, I am so proud of you. You could not do this. Look at you now.
Yes.
Look at what you're doing now. And that as a teacher is the most fulfilling thing, I feel.
I agree.
When we see our students grow and just see how they just started off in one place and they came to this place and you're like, you did this yourself.
And that's
know?
one thing I love about kids.
Mm-hmm.
They receive information from teachers every day on things that they're
Right.
not good at. Every single day. We lose that as adults, and we shouldn't. Because
Right.
part of growing up, part of growing older, part of being in a learning experience is to be able to say, okay, I do need to work on that.
Yeah.
And I mean, and sometimes I'm like, oh, that hurt. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
There's a way you can say it.
Uh-huh.
Some people don't say it the way they should.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But you need to work on how you say it as a leader. You need to really watch and use a velvet covered brick.
Mm-hmm.
But I've failed at that too. Like I said in the very beginning, I could be very blunt.
You know what? And it's also generational. Like the way that I speak to my Gen Zers is very different to the way that I speak to my Gen X generation. I have to be super, super, super like conscientious of what I'm saying to my younger kids, the ones that I'm mentoring, the ones that come and help me with things. But if I'm talking to somebody that's my age or my generation, it's really like no holds bar. We are super comfy just saying to each other, this is how it is without feeling like we're going to hurt each other's feelings, because our feelings are not going to be hurt. My feelings are not hurt by a lot of things. And so people always say, well, aren't you offended by that? I'm like, nothing offends me. Honestly, things don't offend me. If I'm not taking anything personal. I'm not really feeling like any of this really is personal for me. Yeah, I can understand if it affects somebody else or could hurt somebody else, but I'm not offended by a lot of things because I didn't grow up offended by many things. Like I just sort of like to things in stride. And it's sort of like if I'm talking to a boomer generation, they're different too. Like I know they're not going to be for a lot of the niceties or the little pleasantries. They're not about that. They're like, get going, girl. What do you need to say? I mean, we're not going to do any of that. And I'm comfortable with that too because I'm so used to that too. With my parents' generation or my in-laws who are extremely very cut to the point and just get it done. Very practical people. Don't give me all the other crap around it. Just tell me straight to the point. Don't beat around the bush, girl. Okay. Do you ever watch? Okay, so I'm going to go into something really fun now because we're kind of getting to the end of our podcast episode. Do you ever watch any of those real estate shows like $1 Million Listing?
I have watched it once.
Which one? The one in L.A.?
Yes,
okay.
The one in L.A. And I thought it was interesting.
Yeah. What were you? Yeah. How do you feel like those shows do for our industry?
Well, I think that some of them are fairly realistic with those types of listings.
Yeah.
What people need to understand is to get one of those listings, you have to be very experienced and you have to know people and you need to travel in those circles, bottom line. You're not going to just go in and become, you're not going to just go
Tracy
in and
Tudor.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You're not going to start selling a $10 million listing your first day. And I hear people saying that all the time. I'm going to sell the $1 million homes. But here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Why? I wouldn't want to work with that type of home or that type of clientele because that's just not what I'm used to. Now, would I? Mm-hmm. Yes, of course. I mean, but that's not what I want to do every day.
Okay.
I want to work with people who they have a lot to learn and it's just a different clientele. And there is an agent for every type of clientele. Mm-hmm. It's just not my clientele.
Okay. Yeah, but you're not like completely like opposed to those shows because they have a fun component and they're more luxury. Yeah, and I think they kind of show just a different side of real estate too, right? The other shows that I have you ever watched like Selling Sunset?
No, I haven't watched Selling Sunset.
Oh my gosh, you need to watch that because it's not only, but it's drama. It's not really about the real estate. But the way the girls dress on those shows, and it's so funny because I'm like on these Reddit threads and they're like, oh, whoever dresses like that to do a showing or to do an open house. But they're fun to watch too.
Well, I'd like to see the clothes because I'm a clothes horse.
That's me too.
Clothes.
Oh my gosh, I'm all about the fashion.
Exactly.
And the way they're dressing, yeah.
But what I would like to say on the drama part, I think that's how people get the wrong impression about real estate agents.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in the drama part. Mm-hmm. There are agents every once in a while that are going to give you drama. But for the most part, at least here in the Houston market, we're pretty helpful to each other.
Yeah.
And if someone is giving me drama, I'm just going to say, hey, I'm not going to deal with that. We're going to go back and we're going to straighten out this transaction. And we're going to do what we need to do because no one's above We all work for our clients. That's who we work for. You don't work for anybody else but those people that hire you. And when you start the drama, you're hurting your client. You're going to get them.
Do you think that your personal drama or your personal life infiltrates a little bit of the real estate or what your clients think of you and what they see of you? Because I notice that there's a lot of realtors that are on social media, and I notice that a lot of them put a lot of their drama, like their family drama, their fights with their husbands, or how they can't even manage their kids. To me, honestly, maybe it's because I'm a Gen Xer and I'm just a little older. I wouldn't be putting any of that on my social media, because if I wanted a certain type of client that's a serious person that has the money to buy, I don't think he's going to be too thrilled that I'm sharing that kind of nonsense on my socials.
They don't.
Right, but I feel like maybe that's because I'm older.
Well, I don't know. I work for a firm, really top-notch luxury firm. I've worked for big firms my entire career, but this one's high luxury. And they are the ones that have the $10 million clients and more. And they would absolutely, no matter what the age, you're not going to put drama on on social. First of all, I don't want people knowing my business.
Yeah.
You know, why would I? If I can't control my kids, that's a reflection of me. Not, and I don't want to look bad either.
Yeah, and so that makes me think that you're not going to know how to handle my transaction or my negotiation for me, right? That's how I feel. Like, I feel like it all translates and your personal goes. But some people say, no. Just because they're like that doesn't mean they're going to be like that. I feel like, no, they are.
Right. And organized.
Before you become partners in business with somebody, go on their social media and pay attention to the stuff that they post, because they will tell you a lot about somebody. And I told this to my husband the other day. I said, now that we're better at this, and now that we've been in it for years, now we know what kinds of things to go and research a little bit more and see about them, because it would have saved us a ton of time, you know, dealing with certain partnerships that we went into. Because and I told him, I said, if you go and just see what they post, the things that they share, it tells you a lot about them. And people that are curating something really beautiful and nice, not because I think they don't have drama going on there, they just decide not to put it on their socials. And I don't think it's necessary to put all that drama on your socials.
I don't either. I have enough in my life without having to worry about everybody else's drama. I don't want to deal with it. Personally, I don't want to listen to it.
And I get these marketing girls, these marketing people all the time. Well, you need to be more vulnerable. You need to cry or, sad, or be a little more sad or a little more vulnerable. I can't do that. I'm just not that person. And I'm trying to be more vulnerable and show myself a little bit more. Anyways, I wanted to do a little quick
May I say something real quick?
Please.
Before you do that.
Yeah, go ahead.
You are vulnerable. You've admitted where you are. I mean, that's vulnerable.
Yeah.
Crying on social is not vulnerable.
I know. But so many people do it because it's like, that's how you go viral. That's how everybody finds you. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I had another girl that had torn her ACL as well. And all she did was talk about how she was so miserable. She was going through all... I'm telling you, I posted maybe twice about my ACL, recovery and my therapy. But I never talked about how I was so miserable and so, in so much pain. But everybody was like, you should be sharing more of that. You should be doing more of that. But it's not me. It's not my personality.
No, me either. And
Doesn't feel authentic.
Exactly. It's not authentic. And you are vulnerable when you can admit your mistakes. I think that's vulnerable, personally. When you're like, oh, I need to work on that a little bit more, that's vulnerable. That's realistic.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Go ahead.
No, but but I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I feel like I myself will not, just because it's not in my personality to do that.
You don't need to be anyone that's when you get imposter syndrome, is when you're trying to be someone else that you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Know your clientele, know who you are. And I guess that's something that I actually have always been okay with. I mean, yes, there are things that I could pick apart, I want to lose weight or whatever.
Yeah.
But, Twiggy was in style when I was,
yeah,
and I'll never be Twiggy.
Well, you got the Twiggy hairstyle.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
You got the haircut.
That's it, yes. I mean, she's teeny tiny. And, but I'm not Twiggy. And you are who you are. And so that's all you can be.
When I was growing up, it was Selena.
Oh, she
Selena
was
was the
beautiful.
girl that every Latina wanted to be like. The body, the personality, the face, her personality, her whole being is like what we embraced when we were growing up. Because that's who we were growing up with. It was Selena. It was Jennifer Lopez after her, and then embracing that sort of thing. I could never go into the Kardashians, like that wasn't my deal, but I could always see how Selena it was so influential and so beautiful in her way and so different before she passed. And to me, that was sort of the ideal, was to be authentic in who I am, embrace my Latina s, not be ashamed of having a very curvy body, not be ashamed to be a little heavier. I wasn't going to be, like for us, the conditioning was really, the supermodels were like, Christy Brinkley, or, all of those supermodels, which is what I grew up with, which is, a little older than I am, but that's who I was seeing as a teenager. But then when Selena came around, it was a little bit different. She was brown. Her hair was very natural. It was thick. It was big. It wasn't perfect. Her body wasn't perfect, but she was so embracing, and she danced with such a joy that I felt like that's what I want to embrace. That's the personality that I feel like, because we are conditioned as young girls, right? We do see the magazines. We do think about, even now at this age, like, what plastic surgery can we do for ourselves to look a certain way, lipo, or, the Brazilian butt lift. I don't know. There's so many things that women are doing now to make themselves a certain type. But gosh, if we could just get away from that and just embracing ourselves and who we are.
That's right.
And it sounds cliche, but it really is so true.
It is true. And I appreciate you saying that. And Selena was so cute.
Oh, yeah. And I met her in person a few times.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, before she became Selena. Because I was at the clubs 15, 16 years old. Oh, I'm not going to say how I got in. Okay, so I just want to do like a little quick audit, because it's part of what I'm doing this season is I'm kind of going in and talking about how I can give a little bit of value in terms of your business or your socials or whatever. And something that we talked about was our personal brand.
Yes.
And so you have an Instagram account, but I noticed that you're not really doing much on it.
No, I'm not. And that's one thing that I'm very weak in.
And it's managed by someone else. So you should definitely be the one doing this. And in your time, in your little free time, you can do a little bit more of that. The one thing I definitely want to recommend is for you to get a more far away photo, because it's a little too close, and definitely get like a real headshot. Is that a headshot photo?
I do have a headshot photo. That one was not, I don't think.
You should definitely use like a real professional headshot photo, because I think it'll just really show you off. And your glasses are beautiful, and I think you should definitely keep the glasses on.
Well, thank you.
Because it shows your personality, who you really are. And that's kind of what we want to see when we go on there. You have this headshot photo without your glasses, but maybe do something like that with the glasses on.
Okay, yeah, it's a relatively new headshot.
It's beautiful. Maybe use that one for a while.
No, I think I'm going to go and get a new one.
Okay.
It's just because my hair is a little bit different. I like to change with my hair.
And definitely, like, one thing I always recommend is get it through with a professional photographer.
Absolutely.
With the right lighting. Because there's so many people that do like selfies. And I'm like, guys, don't do that. That just doesn't show professionalism. It doesn't cost you too much to get a real photo.
You look better when you get the real photos, I'll be honest. And I like a real photo, but also I see a lot of people who don't change their photo, and you see this photo and then you go see them and you're like,
it's not the same.
Yeah, you're not 30 anymore, you're 80. And so I think you need to change that.
Men do that a lot. I see so many men on LinkedIn. When I finally meet them, I'm like, whoa. This is not the person on the LinkedIn photo.
Exactly. And don't edit too much. I mean, I see that a lot too. But I definitely believe in a professional photo. And I don't like, even though that's funny that you pointed out that one. I forgot I had that one on there.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
No, I'm talking about the one that was
Oh,
or
your the one
snapshot.
on
Yeah,
your oh, okay.
Instagram. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I forgot that was there even, but
There,
I
and it's
definitely.
it's a great photo. Like I really like it, and I like this one where you're teaching.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah,
Because I think that's important to have on your social media because that's really where you shine or where I saw you shine the first time. But somebody took these photos a little crooked, so maybe just do a little bit better with those. I mean, I don't know. I can come and take your photos for you.
oh, that'd be great. Well, I
And
asked.
definitely not, the drink there. I don't know.
Yeah, that was someone did that. Yeah, that one is funny. That someone else did those for me.
Okay. I love how
Yeah.
it says those who do it the best teach.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Because you always heard, if you can't do, you teach. And I would just laugh. Teachers are some of the smartest people I know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
They have to know a lot.
And that's a great quote. So maybe do that quote on your bio because that's kind of who you are. Like you do your best as everything, but because you're so good at what you do, you teach.
I love teaching.
And that shows that you're trying to help others grow as well. So that's a great quote. Maybe you can add that on your bio.
Okay, that's a great idea.
And then start following more people in the industry. Like really go in there, start really following, and then finding somebody that is a good inspo for you. Maybe somebody who's in real estate or maybe who's local but has a great page or a great bio, like a great Instagram account, and maybe taking inspiration from what they do and then creating some photos like that for yourself too.
Good.
Like
good
I
point.
always try to see like who is going to be a great inspiration for me, and I'll look and see, okay, I have something I could do, or there's something like a little too crazy or too out there. But there's people that are putting, like, for example, classes that they're doing, events that they're doing. Like I'm like a super social person, so my events are something that I always bring out because that's how I bring more people to my events. And they'll see and they'll have a little FOMO and they're like, when are you having your next one? That's the question I get all the time. When are you having your next one? When are you having your next one? That always brings it back to that. And so whatever you do, that's fun. But I noticed that it's kind of through Martha Turner.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah. They
have somebody that does that for you? Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's awesome.
Yes, they do. They had someone that did that for us.
Very cool.
Well, they do. They still do. They still do.
You can tell it's very professional.
Mm-hmm.
So
very, very, very professional.
if they're doing that for you, I would be sharing and putting on my page all the time because their photography is gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
Hyper professional and beautiful.
You hear different things from different people without getting into things too much.
Yeah. And then let me ask you, is black your signature color?
Yes.
So then have a signature brand with black, which is your signature color. And you have white hair, which is really beautiful. And so really embrace that part of you, like, that view or that look. So maybe my page would be around like red, white, and black. 3 like signature colors that you feel really good about and really hone in on those colors.
Okay.
Can
That's a
you
great
tell what
idea.
my signature color is?
Red, isn't it?
No.
No.
It's yellow.
Yellow. Interesting.
But you probably haven't seen my page very much because that's really, like, it's all over the place.
Oh,
It's a
that's
lot of yellow
beautiful.
on my page.
But I will say,
And my car.
But I love your car. And my weakness is Instagram. I mean, it really is. I have not been able to embrace it. Anyone that has spoken with me, including some of the people at my office, they were like, Susan, you need to do your own
even if-
videos and stuff. And I just don't feel confident in that. And
Oh
so
my goodness.
it's one of those things. See, I will embrace it and own it. I'm not good at
Embrace it.
socials. I'm not. One, I don't like doing my own videos at all. I don't like the way I look on them. If someone doesn't, that's why I believe in professional people.
I always use professional people because I feel like, number one, the quality is better, right? Number two, they know what they're doing and they'll do like when my production team shows up, they know where the light's going to be better. They're going to know where to place it, because I feel like we need to trust them in what they're doing, right?
Absolutely.
And so I would say for you, another thing that I would say is like definitely continue to work to really embrace those colors. Like this for me is really what you should be doing a lot more of.
Oh, okay.
The black and the white, and maybe adding a pop of color, whatever is your favorite pop of color. It doesn't have to be red. I'm just saying like a pop of color. It could be pink if you feel more comfortable. I don't know. It's just whatever you feel like you really like. Go into your closet and look at your clothes and see what really is something that just feels so good to you. And when you wear it, you feel super happy and confident in it. And then look at that and see, I want to do more of this, and really embrace that part. Because I think you have something already at home that you love, or maybe something in your nightstand that you always use, or a book that gravitates to you. Some people do like teal just because for them it's just like a calming color. It's the ocean. I don't know. If it's something that really speaks to you, it needs to be a part of your brand.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely do that. And definitely follow people in the industry and comment on what they're doing. And I know that Facebook is more something that makes you feel more comfortable, but I would say do more Instagram. And then see who follows you and follow them back and maybe comment on what they do, especially if it's people that are in the industry.
Yes. Which a lot of those people are on my
So
my page.
do that, but definitely be posting more. And I don't know, I would say also put a link on your bio of your whatever your website, if you have a website, or if it's your heart, if you want people to go straight to your heart, put your heart link on here. Don't hesitate to add that on there, because it's a great tool for people to just tap in. And then also, like, a lot of people go to Instagram first before they go to your website, or before they do a Google search.
I've heard that.
They'll go straight to your Instagram account to see who you are and what you do. You know, so that would be something I would recommend.
I appreciate your advice, because it's my biggest weakness. And I do need someone professional like you guys have. I mean, I've got
they do
thumbs up over there.
Yeah,
Yes.
my podcast, I have to do all of that though. I have to do all of my own branding and my photography. They'll do my videos, but then I'll share them, right? So yeah, I would just say, like, and I don't post all the time because I get annoyed with it very quickly and very easily. And then sometimes I don't know, what do I write?
I know. And
what captions do I put on here?
Well, my thing is I run out of time, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a time thing as well.
It's true.
And I definitely that's not my time thing.
No. Yeah.
So
because you always want to put your time where your money is.
Right. But that's what brings you money. Marketing is very important in this business.
Yeah. Well, that's how I found my guys, my production team. I went on Instagram and I looked for a production company, a production group, and they popped up. And then I asked a friend, I said, hey, do you recommend them? And I said, because I'm looking for somebody, and he's like, they're great. So then I tap into somebody else and say, hey, would you recommend them? Are they like reliable? Are they professional? And he was like 100%. Oh, okay. So they'll go to Instagram, or they'll DM me, or they'll DM somebody. Like, I have events and I have vendors all the time, and I find them through Instagram. I'll just look at their page and I'll say, oh, you know what? I was looking for a bartender for an event. I just went to an Instagram and I said, hey, are you open for this? Like, yeah, of course. Like, okay, cool. I'm going to send you all the info and let's, exchange information. And she was my bartender for my event. And now guess what? I'm going to use her for everything because she was so good.
That's awesome.
So,
see, and you're right. A lot of people get their clients from Instagram. I've heard that over and over again. I did have someone managing it for me just because I can't keep up with it.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
But
I honestly, if I didn't have to do it, I probably wouldn't be doing it.
But you're good at it.
I've gotten good over time. And then I also was I was a boutique owner. So guess what? I used influencers for everything, and they taught me so much.
Wow.
Because I used to do influencer marketing with them. That's how they used to share my boutique with everybody.
Really?
They would come and borrow clothes from my store. I would style them, and then they would go off and take their photos, and they would tell everybody, oh, this is from, Thinking Boutique. And that was influencer marketing for me. And then I was like, how do you girls get so beautiful photos? They would show me how to pose. They would show me how to get the camera angles.
You should share that on one of your podcasts.
But I learned from them. They showed me how to do it. Because now everybody's like, how do your pictures always look so good? I said, number one, I have a good photographer because my kid is my photographer and he's really good. And number two, I learned from other girls that are doing it. And I asked them, like, how do you do it? And they would tell me. And now I tell everybody too.
That's interesting because you know what? The influencers are not necessarily, some of them are not necessarily supermodels. They just look beautiful, and how they they
Right.
pose themselves and such. So that's interesting.
Yes, we're not
Very
supermodels at
interesting.
all, but they
You-
make
I
it
mean,
look so good.
Yeah.
And
But they're beautiful.
I always ask them, like, your photos are beautiful, girl.
Mhm.
How do you do it? Oh, I'll show you. This is how you pose. If you want to do this, this is how you pose for that. Or if you're traveling, try this. And I'm like, wow, you girls are good. I'm going to take these notes.
That's
And
interesting.
I take all the notes. Lifelong learners.
Yes, that's right.
We're lifelong learners.
Ex-
Thank you so much for being on my podcast. I
Thank
appreciate you
you.
so much.
Same here, and I'm so glad we met when we did, and I
Yes.
really do appreciate you too.
It was
and
meant
this
to
was
be.
fun. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. And
Thank
so
you.
people can follow you. They can see you. Where would you like people to get more information on you?
Actually, you can just my bio right now is on HAR.
Okay.
I'm in a transition right now, and
Okay.
so things are not exactly where they need to be, but I'm always available by phone and text or what have you. Should I give out my phone number or?
Of course, if you
Okay.
want people to reach out.
Sure, it's 832-567-3007. And again, I will have probably in the next week have my new place
Okay.
all up and
Very
ready to
cool.
go. And then I'll have a website and HAR is a great place too. I do have a website there.
Okay. And that's where I think that's a great place for them to find you because everything is on there. And I went on your bio and it's so beautiful. Everything's just so perfect. All right. Thank you so much. And then just
you.
grateful. And everybody just wants you to know that all of her information will also be in the description. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Senora Vibes Podcast. And then you can follow my personal page at _Alicia E. And then I also have my website on the description. And just go and follow me in all the places. I'm having events. Also, I want you to join my newsletter, guys. I have my personal newsletter. It's the link will be on the bio. And then I also have a few events coming up. I have a realtor event March 6th for Women's International Day. So stay tuned for that. I will share all the info for that. I'm going to be speaking at a panel, and it's going to be just so much fun with my friend Jocelyn, who's also been on the podcast. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And I think you should be in the marketing realm for real estate agents. You're
Oh
great.
gosh, no, don't give me that. I have enough jobs. No. Thank you. I love you. Thank you so
you.
much. Thank you guys.